5 cheap changes to save your life.
Transmitter 42.
Of the many methods available to all of us to help us improve our well-being, some cost quite a lot, some not so much, and a few cost nothing. During these trying economic times of inflation eating away our purchasing power, Kimberley Huggins again joins Transmitter 42 to share 5 things we can do to begin our journey to better health without breaking the bank. As better health can lead to lower healthcare costs, these free tips offer superb return on the investment. Let's all welcome back Kimberley Huggins. Well, welcome back, Kimberley. I like cheap changes.
Most people do.
Let's see where that takes us in our discussion this evening. Well, I'm imagining that smoking has got to be one of the easiest ones. And I'm sad to say that a lot of people I know still smoke. It's way lower than it used to be, but...
True. We put this one first because there's really not a lot to say about it. It's just something you need to do if you want to be healthy. For every story that you hear out there, or maybe your grandpa smoked till he was 90, smoked a pack a day till he was 90, and it didn't bother him one bit, chances are he had something else, whatever it could be, going for him in his favor. Most people, that does not go down that way. And if you're looking for something that you can do that doesn't cost you anything, quitting smoking is kind of a no-brainer. It puts you at a 4-fold risk to have a heart attack, and that's if you don't have anything else wrong with you. So it's just kind of a no-brainer. However you can figure out to stop. I actually think cold turkey's the best. I mean, I was never a smoker, but the research shows that the people who quit cold turkey have the most success. Most people who try and taper off, or they try and use a patch or something to help them quit, they usually go back.
I remember your father when he quit cold turkey once or twice, but I mean, when he did, we don't know about the latent damage that might still be there, but as far as the acute issues of coughing and all that, that went away within a month.
Right, and I was just getting ready to say, you really do have a lot of improvement. With most of your improvement comes within the first year of quitting smoking. So, yeah, definitely something to do. However you find a way to do it, you may need to taper off, you may need to go cold turkey. Prepare ahead of time, find something to do to fill your time, find something to do with your hands because there is a muscle memory kind of thing there involved. Drink a lot of water, whatever you need to do, make a plan because you're going to need a plan. But yeah.
It looks like the smoking cessation industry is there to help as well.
Right. I mean, I think, like I said, that can be a little, moneymaker type thing. But if it gets you to quit and keeps you from smoking, it's all good.
So no more smokes.
Right. No more smokes. And that'll save you lots of money.
Yeah. The taxes the way they are, yes, sir.
Right.
Well, we can't quite quit food, but I imagine that's got to be on the list of things to change.
It is. And this one's going to be quite a little bit more to say about than smoking because it is a larger subject and there's quite a bit of it involved. But what you eat is really more important to your health and your lifestyle, what you eat. And I didn't coin this phrase. I picked it up somewhere, but it really is true. You can't outrun the kitchen. And what I mean when I say that is we've been trained for so long that we automatically think, oh, if I need to lose weight, I just need to eat less and move more. But You cannot do enough exercise. Now, maybe if you need to lose 10 pounds and that's all you need to lose. But if you have a considerable amount of weight you would like to lose or you want to lose for whatever reason, you're not going to do it by exercising. Because, which I would say there are reasons to do exercise, and we'll get to that in a minute. But you can't exercise enough to undo whatever is happening to your body if you're eating poorly. Second thing about that is exercise, which is really good for you and you need to be doing it. It just, depends on what kind, but it's going to make you hungry. That's how your body responds. Every human's like that. You make demands of it. You make demands of your muscles. You need more energy, so it makes you hungry. And hunger is going to win in the end. You may be able to restrict calories for a while you exercise. You may drop 10, maybe even 20 pounds. But eventually, you're going to respond to your body wanting more sustenance. So when I'm talking about what you need to do with food is you need to pay more attention to what you're eating. Because right now, most Americans, and this is actually a worldwide problem, but I'm just going to be speaking mostly about Americans because we live in the U.S. and that's what I'm going to be mostly focusing on. But we are living in a time where the majority of the food in our food system is not real food. It's a food-like substance. It's a food-like product. When you pick up, name whatever, you pick up, let's say, Kraft macaroni and cheese, and you look what's in the ingredients on the back of that, okay? That there is not a, Kraft macaroni and cheese plant. It is a list of chemicals, additives, even things to make, like we just think about basic flour, which makes pasta. Okay, flour is a processed food. And it's nothing like the flour that our great-great-grandparents used, 100 years ago. So this is a really difficult, although I will say, and the reason it's on the list is because you can make this change and it won't cost you anything. Yes, you do have to buy food, but you're going to have to buy food anyway. My point is you need to be purchasing food that helps you nutritionally, okay? And that means getting real one ingredient food as much as possible. One ingredient, okay? So I know it's difficult for people if your life is crazy, which a lot of us in America are. It's work, and then get in the car, and then you got to drive the kids to, sports practice, and you got to pick up such and such, and you got to do this, and you got to run here, and you got to run there. So you just go in the drive-thru to McDonald's or Chick-fil-A or whatever, and you pick up dinner, and that's what you do. Because that's American. And unfortunately, we have become slaves to the convenience of food, not just in drive-thru, but in the grocery store, because everything comes instant, ready-made, stick it in the microwave for 2 minutes, stick it in the,
shelf life.
Yes. So most of our food's not real food. It's what I call frankenfood, okay? And you hear a lot of talk about everything in moderation, that there's no bad foods, okay? But if a food hurts you, then it's a bad food. So it's important, and this is something you will probably not be able to do cold turkey, like smoking. Changing your food and how your family functions with food can be an undertaking. But it's something you've got to do if you want to get control of your health, if you want your kids to be healthy, okay? And if you're listening to this, anyone who's listening to this, and if you have children, okay, I want you to understand this is, it's real for a lot of different reasons, but this is truly an emergency. We have now kids are 80 to 90% of their diet right now is processed food. Okay, and that's unacceptable, not just because I say so, but it's unacceptable for their health. Because we have children now, 10 years old, who are type 2 diabetics. Okay, now type 2 diabetes, now the thing to call it is type 2. But originally, it was always adult onset diabetes, okay?
Our whole lives.
Right. And this was something that you didn't get until you were older, okay? So, and this is a whole nother episode, but this in and of itself, if we have 10-year-olds getting type 2 diabetes, that proves it's not an adult disease. So, as far as your food goes, cut out as much junk as you can. And when I say junk, you've got to read labels. Don't look at the nutrition facts. Look at the ingredients. If there is anything on there that you legit don't know what it is, you should not be eating it. Now, trust me, that is a whole lot of things that are in the grocery store right now. And I didn't say it was going to be easy. And I didn't say your family might not be happy with you. Okay? But
your family's health might be, though.
Right. And I would also say if you have a spouse that is not down with this, okay, you just do it for you. And then when they see that you feel better and you've lost some weight and then they might change. Now they might not. That's true too. Okay? But now as far as your kids, you have to be the parent. You are the gatekeeper. Whoever buys the groceries is the gatekeeper, and that's usually the woman. That's usually the mom in the house. Not trying to be sexist, but just being reality. Usually it's the mom. Okay. You are in charge of what comes in your house. Do not go shopping with your kids if you can help it. Do not go grocery shopping with them. Okay. You need to be able to make the decisions without their input. Okay. And just because they like Little Debbie Ho-Hos, Pop-Tarts, soda, whatever it is, you don't have to bring it in the house. And actually, that's the easiest way for everybody. If you don't bring the unhealthy food in the house, nobody's going to eat it.
And those foods have changed since we were kids, even though they were bad then, but they're even worse now, I would imagine.
They are. And we haven't really talked about this before. We've touched on it. But the companies know what they're doing as far as these foods are purposefully created to addict people. So they've used the same model as they did with the cigarette industry. As a matter of fact, a couple of cigarette industries bought some of the major food companies, but that's a whole nother show. But for those of you who maybe aren't old enough to remember, when the cigarette scandals, whatever you want to call it, came out, and it came out that they were purposefully putting things into cigarettes to make them more addictive to people, because cigarettes, cigarettes back in the day, my grandfather smoked. I grew up in where there was a period of time where everybody smoked. Like, I mean, I would say probably 30s to 60s, 70s, everybody smoked. And I mean, there was no smoking sections. People smoked in the doctor's office, in the lobby. People smoked
in restaurants, on airplanes.
Right after you...
Even on the Hindenburg,
yes,
believe it or not.
You were in an airplane, people were smoking in the plane with you. You were breathing it. Everybody, you couldn't get away from it. And everybody smoked.
Before we go on to our next topic, we're going to go segue into snacking. I have a question about grocery stores.
Okay.
It used to be that you could do the perimeter of the store and be healthier and stay out of the middle of it doing your shopping. Is that still true?
Pretty much. I still think you need to read labels because we have an issue now where some items that were okay before, they're adding stuff to them now because, everything costs more. So they're cost cutting. They're trying to, every business runs on the bottom line. But, for instance, I'll use this as an example. So cream. You want to go to the grocery store. And I'm not talking about what people think is cream. I'm not talking about like Coffee Mate because that's not creamer. Even though it says Coffee Mate creamer.
It's whitener.
It's a frankenfood. So the number one ingredient in most coffee creamers, like Coffee Mate or I think one's called Delight. I don't know all the names.
Right. Yeah, I've heard
but
it.
Is soybean oil.
And probably hydrogenated to get it to be a solid, right?
So you don't want that. So, and I would say that's another thing you need to think about when I say about changing your food, okay? You need to get away from seed oils. And that's soybean oil, palm oil, sunflower oil, rapeseed oil, canola oil. That's a huge one because we were all taught canola oil is heart healthy. Nope. All seed oils, this is a whole nother episode too, but all seed oils are junk oil from industrialization that they have repurposed, repackaged, marketed because they want to make a buck off of everything. So it's really a waste product. But that's getting ahead of myself. There's so much food in our food system now has seed oil in it that it is difficult to get away from it. And I'm hoping we'll see that change, but this is one of the reasons why you have to extremely limit your fast food consumption. I don't really eat fast food out at all. And this is coming from someone who, yes, loved me some Chick-fil-A back in the day. But everything is made with seed oil because it's cheap, okay? And it's a killer for your body because it just inflames your body because your body doesn't know what to do with it. It's actually a foreign invader as far as your body's concerned.
So to round out snacking, modern diets often tell us that we should be snacking. What is your advice about the topic of snacking?
Well, snacking would be number 3 on the list as far as something you can stop doing to change, a habit you can change to impact you. So snacking is not needed. I know everybody's head probably just kind of blew up right there because we're frequently taught. I would make an exception right here if you have low blood sugar. If you're hypoglycemic, I'm not talking to you. But everybody else in America is taught, eat often. This keeps your blood sugar stable. We're bombarded all the time. Every time you turn on the TV, you can't go 2 seconds without some food commercial being on there. And it's always snack food or fast food, something like that. But one of the problems in our society is we're eating too much and we're eating too often, okay? And humans are not meant to graze. Who grazes or what grazes? Cattle graze. Okay, and there's a reason cattle graze.
Horses.
Yeah, but cattle specifically, okay. If you think of it this way, you just need to tell yourself, if weight is an issue for you, cows eat all day and cows are big. You don't need to do that because you don't want to be big. If you're eating every 2 hours, if you want to look at it from a health point of view, every time you eat, every time you put food in your mouth, you're elevating your blood sugar. You're elevating your insulin. So you want to do that as few times as possible because in the long run, high blood sugar and high insulin is the root of all problems. So stop snacking. You don't need to snack. You don't need to eat more than 3 times a day. And I would say most Americans probably only need to eat 2 times a day, unless kids eat 3 times a day. But most adults, because we have a carbohydrate-rich food system, that we're eating too much of. So that would be the third thing. And just that kind of goes back to the food. You have to make sure then that what you're eating is what your body needs. Okay? Your body needs nutrients. Your body doesn't need fake food. It doesn't get nutrients from fake food. If you've ever wondered why you eat and then like just an hour later you're hungry again, your body is starving. You didn't give it what it needed.
Okay. Well, for the sake of time, let's move on to number 4, movement.
Okay, this one's actually pretty simple too. You just need to move. Pick whatever works for you. Walking is the simplest thing you can do. There's nothing to learn. There's no equipment. And
we're designed to do that indefinitely almost.
We are. And we're meant to move every day, regularly throughout the day. So our lives are set up that we move as little as possible. Okay. And I would also say that everybody also thinks they're moving more than they really are. I'll use myself as an example. I got my little, and I recommend you do this. Get one of these cheap little watches. It doesn't have to be the fancy smancy ones like, Apple or Fitbit or
Garmin.
Whatever. Because those cost a lot of money. I mean, if you want to get that, that's fine. But there are cheaper ones that exist. And you don't even have to have one. I was saying these are cheap ways. So you don't even have to have one. But the goal is to move more than you have been. And most people think they're moving more than they are. So when I first got mine, I was like, I hadn't really had any idea how often I was moving. But when I actually checked, and it turned out it was like about 1,800 steps or 2,000 steps. And just for reference, we're supposed to be getting about 10,000 a day, every day, not just on the weekend. So, and even if you have kids and you think you're moving all the time, you're not moving as much as you think you are. Now, if you are a nurse and you work the floor and you're constantly, you're in the ER and you probably never sit down, yeah, you're getting your steps in. But that's not all of us. And you just need to, and a lot of people will say, well, I just don't have time to exercise. I'm telling you, you don't have time not to. You pay now, you pay later. That's just the way it is. And if you don't use it, you're going to lose it.
In my experience, when I've picked up walking, the first thing that was remarkably improved is blood pressure.
Totally.
20 points easy.
Right, if you do it regular. And I will also add for any of you who are type 2 diabetics, the best thing you can do to lower your sugar is walk after you eat. And you don't have to walk like an hour. 15, 20 minutes after a meal in the evening is perfect.
Might do that tonight. I bought a watch as well to track my steps, everyone, so I'm joining the fray here with my wife.
And, there's other ways to track your steps. Honestly, if you're going to take your phone with you, I'm sure there's an app that tracks your steps. I think Apple does it on the health thing that's just built in the phone. So there's ways to do it, or just do it by time. Usually if you walk an hour, you've probably got your steps in for the day. Now, maybe you can't do an hour at one time, but if you can do 20 minutes in the morning, and maybe you do 20 minutes at lunch, and maybe do 20 minutes in the evening, okay, you got your time in. But the important thing is you do it.
And I guess swimmers might have an advantage as well. Although I know swimming is not the same kind of exercise, but it is nonetheless movement. What do you think about that?
Well, I mean, any movement is good. I just like walking because it doesn't cost anything.
Right.
I mean, if you're going swimming, you have to pay to get in the pool. I mean, unless you have your own lap pool in the back, most people don't.
All that is money.
Right. So,
walking is cheap.
And I would even say walking, there's something special about walking, because while you should be getting other exercise, like weight bearing exercise is especially important, but that's a topic for another day. Lots of times we're not thinking about just this movement. There's something to the movement throughout the day that we're supposed to be doing. So if you save up and try and get all your exercise like the weekend warrior on the weekend, doesn't really work.
Okay, for our last topic, sleep.
Okay, this is another topic. It's not going to cost you anything generally, but most of us that live in America, our sleep is disrupted. Now, your sleep can be disrupted for a lot of different things. Obviously, if you have a new baby, for all of you who remember, your sleep's disrupted, okay? And it's going to be like that for a while, and you do the best you can till you get to the point where the baby's sleeping. But it's really important to get on a sleep schedule that corresponds with natural daylight. Okay. Now, I get if you have to work nights, I'm not talking to you right now, except try and get off nights as soon as you can for a whole nother host of, I know a lot of people who work nights love it. A lot of people who work nights get paid extra, or there's perks to working at nights. But the statistics show, sorry to burst everyone's bubble, you don't live as long if you work nights, and you have a higher risk of getting cancer and a higher risk of cardiovascular disease. So, moving back to the topic is that our sleep is frequently disrupted because we have lights on all the time. We have the wrong kind of lights on all the time. You need to move away from blue light. It does matter the kind of lights you have in your house. It matters to the animals outside, actually. There's some research out now that if you have blue lights in your house, is that what it's called? Blue lights, cool light,
yeah, cool.
white light, whatever you want to call it. People are more at risk of AFib from that. And they have tracked this in animals. So when you see the white lights outside on people's houses or wherever, the animals are suffering from that. The animals legit get AFib.
Yeah, I think these lights are classified as daylight color. I think it's versus soft white, which is really yellow.
Right. So, you need to, the best thing you can really do to help your sleep is expose yourself to sunlight in the morning. Now, I know a lot of people are saying, well, I'm up at 5 o'clock and, so I'm doing okay. You've got to have the sunlight, okay? So get your sunlight. It's important for your vitamin D, and it's important for your sleep as well.
Well, great. Thank you very much, Kimberly. I hope these 5 inexpensive, cheap steps will help people get on the bandwagon to improve their own health and do it quick, because society is not helping us at the moment. Thank you to the Transmitter 42 listeners here on WBCQ and our podcast website. Archives of this broadcast are available on our website at t42.am. If you have a comment about this episode, please send an email to radioshow@t42.am or mail a note to Transmitter 42, P.O. Box 100, Remington, Virginia 22734. Thanks for listening. Join us again.
Transmitter 42.